Hello, virtual family. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on time you're watching me and where you're watching me from. I am very sure that you, as you are looking at me, you do not know that there are different types of domestic violence and you do not know that categories exist, right? So I am here to educate you on the types of domestic violence that exist and to tell you that there are different types of domestic violence. Forget that I'm smiling, but domestic violence is very wrong and it's against the law. All right? Now, let us start with what violence is. According to Black's Law Dictionary, violence is any form of physical force that is done with fury, outrage, anger, force, and with the intention of causing harm. So, there has to be an act and there has to be an intention, all right? That intention is to cause harm. And the person must have done it with anger, with passion, all right, with to inflict pain and hurt. Okay? Now, section there are two laws that protect domestic violence in Nigeria. Although there are several laws, treaties, international, regional, okay, and national. But in Nigeria, there are two laws you should be mindful of. There are several laws, but take note of this. Section 34 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria forbids any form of degrading treatment, inhuman and degrading treatment. All right? Now, those inhuman and degrading treatment includes domestic violence. The Violence Against Persons Act goes further to break down the types of domestic violence. All right? Now, let me tell us the different types of domestic violence that can be found in the Violence Against Persons Act, Persons Prohibition Act, right? Now, we have physical abuse, we have sexual abuse, we have economic abuse, we have neglect or abandonment, we have emotional abuse, elderly abuse, and violence. All right? And why I brought violence is because all of those physical force with hurt, pain, anger are done in a domestic setting. That is why it is called domestic violence. There are several types of violence, right? But anyone that is done in a domestic setting is called domestic violence, right? Now, I have told us the types of domestic violence. So let me give us an example. For example, in a home, a husband or wife, they beat each other, all right? Because according to the act, even a man can be subject to domestic violence. Okay, so where a man or woman inflicts any type of physical harm with the intention, any carries out any action with the intention of causing physical harm, that is physical abuse. Sexual abuse is where a person, I know this can be argued, right? But where a person says no and a spouse says no, okay, and you still insist on having sex, that is sexual abuse. And that is why there's an extension called spousal abuse, right? There's an extension called spousal abuse. We'll talk about that one later. Now, economic abuse is when a person forbids the other from making money, from doing anything that will help them make money. So that's economic abuse, or you deny them of their normal economic rights. Okay? Now, neglect or abandonment, when you abandon your home or you neglect your spouse, your kids, that's neglect or abandonment. Okay? Now, emotional abuse is when you maybe you gaslight them, maybe you give them silent treatment. These are forms of emotional abuse. All right? And then elderly abuse or violence. So, an older person that is living in your home, when you carry out any form of abuse, you should treat them with care. Okay? Now, when you carry out any sort of physical activity with the intention of causing harm, even if you do not intend to cause harm, because the person is elderly or the person is vulnerable, let me say, it can be that action can be seen as an abuse. So it is better to it is better, right, to handle people with care. Okay, so I hope I've been able to break down the types of domestic violence, and if you are experiencing any of this, do well to report to the authorities. Now, in Nigeria, please run to the National Human Rights Commission and the NAPTIP. Okay, um, you can also go to court. So, I hope I've been able to explain it, and it has given you an understanding of the types of domestic violence that exists, right? So, yeah. See you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video, give this a like and send this to someone who is a bit confused about what they are passing through. Who you know they are passing through something, but they are a bit confused. Okay, and save this video if you want to make reference to it later, right? And then yeah, see you in the next one, because I'm definitely going to see you in the next one. I love you. Take care of yourself out there. Okay. Mwah.